to have you join us here today on Doing What You Love, Starting a Business 2017. We are so grateful that you could be here with us during this holiday season as we really look forward to next year and all the opportunities that come with it. And I'm so pleased to be able to do this program with our special visitors that we have today, our friends at libraries and our friends at the Commissioner of Revenue's office. We're really excited about that. So without further ado, we're going to jump in today's webinar. It's going to be a lunch that is packed full of information. And I'm having just a slight technical difficulty, so please bear with me as I try to get this screen to go forward. And this is not.
This is my first time doing this, so your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, everybody. I'm actually going to start going through the slides. May ask my team to help me figure out why my screen has gotten locked for whatever reason, but I'm going to go through this. About today's webinar, all the attendees are placed in listen-only mode right now until the end of the Q&A session. You'll be able to raise your hand on your screen below and ask us any questions that you may have about doing what you love. Make sure that you put your question in the chat window. We'll be going back to all of those questions, so make sure that you do that. We're going to be moderated at the end of the webinar with Arlington's very own Janine Finch, who is our events manager here at Arlington Economic Development. We'll be recording today's session, so you'll be able to access this information at a later date. We will also be sending out the materials to you all today, so you'll have all the hyperlinks and all the information that you need. If you have additional questions that you may come up with after the workshop, feel free to do so. We are here for you. We're going to have all of our contact information at the very end, so we'll also have that for you as well. With that, I'm going to jump in to introduce, thank you so much. I have a wonderful person that just helps get us back into order. But with that, I'm going to briefly introduce myself. I am Tara Palacios, the Director for Small Business here in Arlington County called BizLaunch. We have the pleasure of working with entrepreneurs who are new and who are looking to launch and start their businesses. We also work with a lot of existing companies. So I love my job. It's so much fun. And I brought two of my closest special guests, but also friends of BizLaunch, Alexandra Fox, who is our business librarian. Good to be here, Tara. Glad to have you here with me. And also, at this time of season, it's great to have folks that are close to taxes. And so to my right, I have my friend Rodolfo Luna, who is with Arlington's Commissioner of Revenue.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Tara.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. These are two people that I would say I would love to have you all on speed dial. But more about that later as we jump into doing what you love. It's all about taking a passion that you have in a particular area, cultivating it, and making it more than a hobby. It's making it into something that you want to share with others. You have a product or service that you believe can help others and bring that to market. And it kind of looks like this. You know, this guy is happy. He's loving having his lemonade stand. I question the 25 cents. I think maybe his product market might be worth more, just get the return on the investment from all the equipment that he has purchased. But you can tell that he's doing what he loves. And therefore, you want to be an entrepreneur because the goal is not only to do what you love, but to make money as you're doing it and to be innovative and to be in this space where you can do good for others. And I think social entrepreneurship is a wonderful opportunity to be able to do that. For many, many, many people, however, it's almost as if you are taking a blind leap off the cliff, off the side, and into the ocean. But I am here to tell you today that it is a calculated leap, especially if you think about what it is that you love doing and you build a foundation and you put your vision, your ideas, your inspiration, you think about it and you go through a process to develop something. And that right there will take you, it will mark you in a much better place than somebody that's rushing in. You're being very strategic, very planning. You're taking that and building into it the process so that you can continue to do what you love when you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning working on your business plan. So what I say is instead of just leaping off of a cliff, you're going to keep calm as you jump off the cliff. That's the goal. And yes, you are at the right seminar today. We're going to put some, what I call meat to the potatoes. We're going to put some things as part of the process so you can see all the resources, all the tools, all the things that are out there to support you. So it's not just an individual, but think of us as a team. Alexandra Fox, Rodolfo Luna, we're here, Tara Palacios, Lourdes Morales is also here with us to make sure that you have access to all the key tools. And some of those are doing counseling sessions, and we offer those in both English and in Spanish. We do several seminars and webinars. Please stay tuned for 2017. We have a packed listing of events. I am so excited to share those with you in the new year. But there are also resources available to you. The majority of them are free. Alexandra is going to talk about that, getting into some market intelligence. We're going to look at the business plan, all kinds of networking opportunities. If you're in the DC metro area on January 30th, I have a networking opportunity for you in Clarendon. And it's free, and it'll be an opportunity for you to meet with others. So we try to really keep on task with all of these things to help support the endeavors that you're doing. With that said, we also, in Arlington, we can't do this by ourselves. Now, the two people that I have with me at the table, Alexandra and Rodolfo, are part of Arlington County government, such as BizLaunch, but there's also Chamber of Commerce's, there's the SBA, Business Development Assistance Group, SCORE. These are people that we have identified that are amazing in the small business space that can support you. So therefore, when we say it's a calculated leap, it really is, because think of it as you're bringing on these partners to help you do what you love. So for the lunch hour, we're going to be talking, we're going to dip our toes into some planning that everybody needs to do. What I've seen in the 16 plus years that I've run BizLaunch, the real difference between a successful business owner, a successful entrepreneur, and one who fails is one that plans and one that does not, and then knowing when to take that leap. So we'll jump into that. And of course, it wouldn't be anything if we didn't get into some of the federal, state, and local regulations that can also be there that you need to be aware of, and any next steps that you'll need to take. Now, you'll see down below a note. Yes, that is a musical note, and what is it doing in a business webinar? That means whenever you see that on a slide, take heed, warning, note this, highlight. It's areas that we've seen our businesses struggle with, and we're trying to give you a heads up not to do this, right? The other thing that you'll see on the next slide, which has a note in it, is free, is a good four-letter word. Yes, free. Keep calm because things are free. You don't, a lot of times people, when they're new to entrepreneurial endeavors, they think that they have to spend a lot of money. I am here to tell you what you want to do as a successful entrepreneur is not spend money. You want to get the big bang for your buck. You want to have a return on your investment. You want to be very strategic with where you spend your dollars. And the things that I'm telling you are free. Take advantage of it. But more about that later. One of the things that we promised in the workshop was to give you a checklist. This is our crib sheet. This is what we're going to go over that you have to check off before you execute your business. And it's what I call the golden business checklist. I try to keep it very simple. Now remember, there's a lot of steps in between, but this way you can check off as you're going along to make sure that you hit each key phase. And we'll be going over these in the next hour. Planning, and more planning, and then jumping. But then before you take that leap, you have to see if you're financed. It may make sense that you hold off on your endeavor if you don't have the money to execute. We're going to look at the various business structures, those requirements and certifications that are available to you, and then execution. Now, we get a ton of questions about business planning. And what I say, the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that the idea of what you're doing that you love is feasible. And by feasible, we mean that it makes sense. Let's get down to the bottom of it. It's not just something that you throw out there and you hope the market will accept it and buy and do. You want to make sure that you have the capacity to be able to execute. You have that ability. You also want to make it as detailed as possible, that there's no stone that's not unturned, right? So you want to be able to look at everything bad that can possibly happen, everything good. You want to think of it in an A bucket, a B bucket, and a C bucket. Best case scenario, midway scenario, worst case scenario. Because one thing that can happen is something can come and trip you up that you hadn't anticipated. Do that while you're not making any money. That's a big recommendation, because once you start making money, life changes, people change, friends and family change. So you want to think about it when you have the luxury of not having any pressure. People say that they don't have competition, and that to me is a big, red, juicy flag. If there's no competition, that means that you're going to have to spend a lot of money on it. It means that other people aren't doing it, and the question you have to ask yourself is, why not? Because this means that where you're having a high rate of return, you're going to have to invest heavily in it, and does it make sense? I think a good example is think Apple. You know, when they first started, when they first executed, it took a lot of money to be a game changer, and you have to have the capacity to be able to do that. It's usually about 20 or more pages. It takes an assumption, your business plan takes an assumption of the market, and it minimizes your risk because you've thought of everything. First and foremost, it's written for yourself. Not written, other people, you might tweak it. The one that you send to the landlord if you're getting space, the one you send to your bankers, the one that you send to your investors. It might look a little bit different, but you really are doing the plan for yourself. And I highly recommend this one, management expertise. When you're writing your plan, you want to make sure that yourself and whomever you're bringing, your partners that you're bringing on, understands the industry and the market that you're going into. And you also have to understand your financials, your profit and loss, your day-to-day operations, and what happens if there's a slow time. How does that impact your financials? Is there an area or opportunity where you can make that up? And then your marketing plan. Many folks that we work with aren't marketing experts, so you may consider bringing on someone on your team that is. You don't want to spend a ton of money on developing and branding and marketing yourself when you can hire an agency that can do that for you. If you're not an expert in marketing, I highly recommend developing and designing your plan, and maybe part of that is bringing somebody on that can help you with that. Which leads me to my special guest, Alexandra Fox, who is amazing business librarian. We're so fortunate to have her here in Arlington County, and she is our business librarian, and we'll be discussing some wonderful things, and I'll be chatting with her as we go through. Don't forget to have your questions at the end. Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. So I am Alexandra Fox. I'm the business librarian for Arlington County, and I get many referrals from economic development, from BizLaunch, from SCORE, for people who are looking for specific types of information, that they're spending way too much time on Google and not finding actually authoritative information that they can make decisions on. Just to get you just up to speed, here is the Arlington Public Library website. And for those of you who may not know, we do have thousands of free downloadable ebooks, as well as e-audiobooks on demand. And we also have a product where you actually can get free magazine subscriptions, such as Inc., Working Mother, Entrepreneur Magazine. We have streaming music, and of course we have lots of databases, such as Consumer Reports. We have a product called lynda.com that's very popular, and these are all things that you can get for free with an Arlington Public Library card. So you're probably wondering, how do I get an Arlington Public Library card? Well, as long as you live, work, or go to school in Arlington, or if you live in the tri-state area. So you can either visit us in person and show some photo ID and get a library card, or you can go on our website under the category in the orange bar there under services, and you can actually register for one online. But it just, again, just to get you up to speed, that we have a lot of digital content that people often are just amazed to find out.
And amazed that it's free.
And it's free, yes. And
that's the cool piece.
So before we go to the next slide, I just want to point out to you in the upper right-hand corner, again on the orange bar, the Explore label there. Just want you to remember Explore. So let's suppose we clicked on Explore, and I'll go to the next page. This is actually our Explore Small Business Resources landing page. And
this is new.
This has been around a little while.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And the idea is that we really wanted to curate a space for small businesses to go to learn what resources we have, whether it's digital content or as myself, as a business librarian. So let me just highlight a couple of the categories. So under business plans, if you were to click on that, you would be taken to sort of a guide of resources that we would recommend that you use for your business plan. One of those resources is actually a digital, an online subscription that we pay for, and it has, I think, almost 500 business plans, sample business plans. They've been vetted and they've been approved, and they're organized by type of business.
Very nice.
So these business plans are not what you would find in bplans.com, for example. But sample business plans are, let's say, for a nonprofit organization, a marketing consultant, a health and wellness coach, a food truck, technical writer, daycare center, a green sustainability consulting firm. So there's a real variety of business plans that you can actually find in this product.
Nice.
Okay. The second one to the right of it is small business research. And if you were to click on that, we would direct you to the majority, now I'm not saying all, of our digital business and investment research database. There is a lot of content that we have available that we're still trying to pull together, but that, if you were to click on that, you would be directed to all the databases that we recommend for doing your business planning for small businesses. And right below that is a category called Business Librarian by Appointment.
Ooh.
So for the past couple of years, I make myself available a few hours a week to people who are having trouble finding the information they need for their business plan or their business planning, for sales leads, things of that sort. So you can click on that and you can see my online calendar, and there is a form that you fill out that helps me understand what information you need, what context you need it in, and what you've done before. And I do schedule a week or two out. If there is no availability or the time doesn't work with your schedule, you feel free to contact me directly, and I'm happy to schedule a mutually convenient time for us to meet. Okay? And then before we also have, of course, we have a Twitter feed, which we're trying to work on at the library.
I like to follow you, though, because there's a lot of great information that you share.
And then, of course, we have our lovely BizLaunch category.
I didn't know that was there. That's awesome.
So we also send you back to BizLaunch.
Yay.
But again, I suggest that you bookmark this page for future reference. Okay, now I want to highlight, now many people say to me, you have all this content, you have all these databases, how do I know where to go? So for your market research, you're primarily looking at your companies, your competition, your industry, and your target audience, whether that's going to be consumers or businesses, right? So this is actually a guide, and Tara created a really great bit.ly at the bottom there. I also suggest that you bookmark that. This is a guide that will help you understand what content you will find in what databases, okay? So when you're looking at your industry, we have a database that actually has industry market research reports. And they're going to tell you what's happening in your industry. Is it growing? Is it contracting? What are some of the threats to the industry? What are some opportunities? And that's actually a good start to understand, to get up to speed, because the research has already been compiled for you. Another area is company. Many people are looking for private company information, and that information is very difficult to find. We are fortunate to subscribe to a database called Reference USA. Reference USA Business Data, US Businesses module, that product is used by Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay, so it is vetted information. The database has been around a very long time. Again, we have our Business Plans Handbook, which there's an actual breadcrumb trail there for that. Reference USA also provides free you can customize any search. Suppose you wanted to find all the ophthalmologists in Arlington County, you can get that, and you can create that search and then download the mailing list into Excel, which is really nice, or into any contact management system. But basically, this will get you started. This page actually will also provide you with my contact information, but I would like to highlight one of the databases that we just love. And I know, Tara, many of your clients just rave about it as well.
I rave about it.
Business Decisions. So many people come and try to understand where should they locate their business, where are the consumers or the businesses located that will buy their product or service. Okay, so Business Decision is a product that allows you to customize your search to any geographic location and get customized results on the consumers and the businesses and the buying patterns of those consumers. And I'll just give you an example before we get to the next slide. The library just recently launched a pop-up library in Crystal City. And as part of the research, we decided to use this database to understand who actually lives close to this address in Crystal City. So we decided to narrow it down to 0.3-mile radius of this address. So we ran the search. And the goal of this is to understand who is living there, what's their family composition, what's their age range, what are they spending their money on, and how many businesses and what types of businesses are along in this area, again, a 0.35-mile radius.
So what you're saying, though, which is interesting, is that the library uses it as well to help them make decisions as to what you do from a strategic business decision.
Correct. Then this will influence how we are actually going to, what kinds of events and programs and services we're going to be providing for those that population.
Very nice.
So let's go to the next slide. So this is just two quick screenshots of search results for this search. So we were looking again at 0.3-mile radius from that address, which is actually, we just named the project The Connection. And I apologize for not drilling down a little bit, but if you can see, there's an actual circle around the red dot on the
right here. Right here.
So what we discovered was that the product here gives you a visual representation of the data, and you can drill down even further. We can look at, for example, the daytime population, the number of businesses in that area. But what we learned in this category was that the majority of the consumers around our 0.3-mile radius, from that address are composed of apprentices and empire builders. These are dominant consumer segments, and there is a corresponding PDF document that comes with this database, and it will actually give you a breakdown of their consumption examples, their median age, their family status, their household income, and it really drills down to what they buy, who they are, and what their values are.
Wow.
And that can be really useful as
That's priceless information as you're going forward and you're doing your marketing plan.
Correct.
And some of the business decisions that you're making, because you have detailed information that you can access.
Exactly. People really love, there are actually 65 different consumer segments, and it's very interesting if you run a search for 22206 versus 22201 zip codes. We really learned some differences about the populations in those areas.
Nice.
Now, again, you can use Business Decision at any level, at an address level, at a zip code level, at a county level. You probably don't want to go that that large because then you won't get some information there. But that's one way. That's one of the graphs that we have. On the right, this is the results of the search. We can get actually a report on the 2010 census data for this particular area that we decided.
Very nice.
Okay, and some people say that the census site is difficult to use, and it can be difficult to use.
Cumbersome, maybe.
Correct. Further down, there's a retail goods and services expenditure report. Again, this is only for the area that we identified, the 0.3-mile radius around that address, which is really, really useful because it's so customizable.
This is really, and let me ask you, because we were talking about that, is this our great four-letter word of free?
This is all free. This is all free. Yes. And I do have some people who come in and make an appointment just to run some searches with me and have me explain how to do it and also how to read the data, interpret the data.
Ah, that's cool.
There is also a great report in here on business summary. So I didn't put it up, but I will tell you that report revealed that there were, within that area, 0.3-mile radius of that address, there are 400 total businesses, there are 12,000 employees, and there are 5,000 people who have a residential population.
Nice.
So that stuff is really helpful for planning. In fact, I actually had a business owner a couple of years ago ask me to show him how to actually find out the types of businesses that were along a specific street in Arlington. Nice. He was evaluating some rental space just to figure out what was the lunch crowd going to be looking like.
Oh, wow.
What kind of businesses were there. So, and Business Decision will break out the number of the types of businesses by NAICS code as well. So that could be very useful for someone who is who's looking for that. So, of course, last but not least, on the next page, we have what we are probably very well known for are books.
Books! Books, too!
So these are just some books that I do recommend to many of my small business patrons. And we have a very large collection of materials that you could check out. We do have, the Entrepreneur Press is a great publisher. They put out guides on how to start a business, how to start X business. We do also have, books on understanding demographics and psychographics, what people are spending their money on and where the growth is. We do have as well, books that you can check out and books that you can use in the library. We have reference books. I don't even think we've discussed them, such as like Market Share Reporter, the Encyclopedia of Business Information Sources. There are some real seminal titles that have been around for a very long time, and they're priceless, really. To get up to speed on a specific industry, you can do it very quickly with some of our resources.
That's awesome. I mean, I always feel like the library has these amazing resources for entrepreneurs, and it's like one of those best-kept secrets that we try to share with everybody as much as possible, because this is the four-letter word free, but not only is it free, but it's amazing with the caliber of information. And I think everybody in webinar world should know that this is where you really start to put the meat to the potatoes and drill down and get into the specificity that you need in order to execute your business plan.
Yes, and even for people who are in business, who are looking for sales leads, we do have resources. We do have, for example, the Washington Business Journal Book of Lists, which is actually a very popular tool that people come into the library to use. So I'm showing you some digital content, but please don't discount any print materials because they are quite valuable. So thank you.
Very nice. And this is why I have my special guest here also with me, everybody, because just the knowledge base, and we're so fortunate here in Arlington to have access to Alexandra Fox and her amazing ability to get and help others. So thank you, Alexandra. And hopefully you'll have your questions teed up for her at the end. It would be remiss in today's world not to talk about marketing tools that are available. You've got your primary and secondary research, but also your day-to-day. And it's really dependent on how your target market accesses information. So are they online? If so, what type of behaviors do they do online? But for a lot of businesses now, they're on LinkedIn. There's a business page, there's a professional page, there are different groups and associations that you can belong to that are of influence. I try to get on there at least once a week, try to post up information there. But it might make sense to be on Instagram. If you're doing food, or if you're doing a product or a visual that people would like to see, Pinterest might also be a way. So it's taking your business and it's branding it in a way that makes sense to your end user, your target market. Even the government, like if you're going to be doing consulting and you're working with the government, believe you me, they're going online to see what your presence is, to see what type of information you're posting, to see if you'll be able to respond to bids. And I can say I can also find a lot of opportunities online as well. There's also your traditional advertising, print media, commercials, ads. You can also utilize surveys, market research, with things like SurveyMonkey and other tools that are available to use. It's a great way to gauge your audience before you invest into your idea. There's also the paid versus free. There are a lot of free things. I think if you pay for social media advertising in particular, that way you can really drill down. I've been amazed at how with sponsoring content on either Twitter or on Facebook or some of these other platforms, how amazing I can really drill down to the markets that Alexandra was speaking of. If you haven't saved your name for your company, I encourage you to do so. We've got a little website that can do, it's called namecheck.com, that you can see on the bottom of this slide, where you can go ahead and see if your name is available on a multitude of social media platforms. Even if you're not 100%, I would still save it, because once you're ready to launch, you're going to want to make sure that it's available there. These are other websites to support your business planning piece of doing what you love. Of course, I put our website up there first, the economic development. We've got lots of market research data on Arlington, the SBA. Oh my God, their tools on their website. You can do your plans. You can save it. You can go back. You can get all kinds of information. So I definitely recommend, and a lot of the I think 100% of what they have on there is free.
Yep.
Free tools. Score DC also has a multitude of webinars that they've started putting on their website. The IRS, our friends at the Internal Revenue Service, they'll be doing a workshop with us in February. They also, too, have great templates and access to information that's available. Going down, the county has a template. Oh, there are templates on the sample business tools. Toolkit has some great templates. There's training. I've also put that up there as well. So just a variety of just real quick local resources that are available to you. If you're not familiar with our website, arlingtoneconomicdevelopment.com, this is our Start a Business link, which takes you through a lot of the webinars that we've done. It links over to the events that we have up and coming. And as you can see, this webinar is advertised on our page, but also jumping into the new year, we have quite a number of workshops that are coming up. You can, at the bottom of this page, also list your business for free if you're in Arlington County. And you can also do a blog where we actually profile your business as well. So we'd love to be able to profile you too. And this is all part of the free. I should have a note on this page, but it's all free resources and tools for you. Which jumps into the old adage, to finance or not to finance, and the thought that money doesn't grow on trees many times. So do you do it all on your own? Do you get traditional financing? My answer is very simple, and in a nutshell, yes, do. Do. Get it now when you don't need it. You never know in business what will happen, how popular you will be, when you will access funding. So get it all set up now when you don't need it, because financiers can smell out when you're desperate and you need it. That's when you don't go get money. I know it seems a bit awkward, but that is our rule of thumb. And there are a variety of different options that you can do. You can go to the bank and get traditional financing. You can get an equity line and use it when you need it, a line of credit, use it when you need it, pay it back. There's no prepayment penalties. And what you're doing, what you also want to do and think strategically about is separating you, the individual, from the business. And this is one way to do it, is getting access to capital in the name of your business so that when the business has needs, it stands alone from your personal account. And once you begin to separate, it's the business alone then begins to develop its own purchasing power. There's also SBA lending, which is kind of a misnomer. The only time the SBA directly lends is in cases of disaster. Otherwise, what they do is they partner up with a lot of banks, and the banks are what they consider like preferred lenders and are accredited through the federal government so that they can lend, and there's a variety of types of loans. The SBA actually acts as a guarantor for your business, but you would discuss that with your bank as to the right course of action, because it could be that they may have a product that has a better interest rate, but you would discuss that. There are also family and friends, and I've known a number of very successful businesses that are here in Arlington that have started where somebody has tasted somebody else's food and they said, I want to invest in you. And the neighbors, friends, family, so I don't discredit that, but what you want to do at the most is diversify your income streams. Crowdfunding is new. There's a plethora, Kiva. There are different types of actions. Usually what they say is you have to tell a compelling story when you're using crowdfunding. And something like Kiva, there's no interest rate. There's no penalty if you don't make it. So there are a lot of great crowdfunding options, but you want to investigate them all because they all do different things and there may be different fees. So you want to educate yourself. We actually have a workshop that we do on that. Were you going to say something, Alexandra?
Yeah, I was going to say that actually just looking at some of the data, our crowdfunding books are actually one of our more currently are titles that are checked out most often within the business category.
That makes sense to me. It's a great way, and the SEC and some of the financial arms have actually looked at it more friendly than they had in the past, and some of the laws and the regulations that have been adopted recently are open to that type of source. And then there's also venture capital. With a lot of startups, it's angel investing primarily. Venture capitalism comes a little bit later in your trajectory as you're doing like a second or third round. But with venture capital, you're actually looking at having somebody else take a percentage of your ownership for the amount that you may need. So not everybody feels comfortable with that, or they may feel comfortable at any given time, but it's something to consider as you're looking at how am I going to fund this endeavor? How am I going to get the appropriate funds? Because let me tell you, if you don't get enough, that's a problem. Because especially I've had people that say, oh, this is just something fun I'm doing, and then they go on and they're like, I want to expand, I want to rule the world, but they don't have these pieces in place. So I highly encourage you. And some of the things that when you go, no matter if it's investing, no matter what it is that you're doing, crowdfunding, you want to consider, this is what the bank is looking at, and it's called the 5 C's of credit. It's your capacity, your capital, your collateral, your conditions, and your character. Capacity, the first thing everybody looks at is your ability to repay. It's the most critical. If you're not able to repay the amount or have the ability to, even if you fail, you got to keep that in mind. Even if you fail, you have to be able to repay. You can't just walk away. Capital, folks also want to know that you're invested financially. Not just they're going to take the risk, but you are as well, and that's usually a percentage. Collateral, of course, are your guarantees. This is a car, a boat, a house. So in case the business does not succeed, and we don't like talking about no success, but in case it does, you can liquefy an asset to pay it off. Conditions, not all financial institutions, including banks, are willing to lend to a retailer or to a restaurant or to a government contractor. So you want to make sure that you understand, or that the banker understands, what purpose you're going to use the loan for, and if their board is open to that type of loan. So what is the intended purpose? And character, that's how bankers perceive you. You want to appear, I always say, any opportunity to meet somebody, you want to put your best foot forward. So when you go and you meet with the banker and you say, you know, I need X amount for X, Y, and Z, and this is why, believe in me, they're more confident than somebody that says, I really need 10 grand. If you give me that, I can start. You know, that goes to character. You want to show that you have the management, the expertise, and the ability. So keep these things in mind and think about it early on, not later. Think about it when you don't need it. Okay, I see a note down the bottom of this one. See that little note? The business structure. This really is dependent on what you plan to do with your business. Sole proprietorship is just that. It's one individual. You can't take on partners. There's not much. You can use your own social security number in order. That's your business structure. You're an individual person that's doing a consulting business, and it's under your social, but there's nobody else but you. The general partnership, you start to bring on people, and you want to make a partnership more formalized, where there are people that have different percentages of execution in the business. There's the limited liability company, or LLC, which is the most popular form of business structure. What that starts to do, like I was saying about the business, you start to separate yourself from the business. The LLC goes through your local government, your state government, and it separates you and the business. You can be your own registered agent for the business, but it begins that process of separation. And incorporation, S Corp, C Corp, Benefit Corp, those are like you're selling shares, you're formalizing, you have a board. One of the things that we're seeing a lot more of is the Benefit Corporation. That is a for-profit entity that does good. The Commonwealth Virginia does those as well as your S and your C Corp, and we've done workshops on these topics. If you go to the link fcc.virginia.gov, you'll find all the forms, and you can do it online, you can call them up on the phone. One of the things, if you do decide to be a LLC or incorporated in some form, you must go through the IRS first and get an EIN number. I have that in the next slide. But the note is ultimately, this is where I would pay a little bit of money. I would reach out to a CPA. I'd reach out to an accountant to make sure that this is the best formation for you, dependent on how much you gross. I can give this much of advice, but I am not a CPA or accountant. I just know when you need one, and in this instance, I'd say have a chat. Talk to them. Which here are the hyperlinks, and when we send out the PowerPoint presentation, you'll have access. You can get your EIN number. That is your employer identification number through the IRS. Typically, you want to get your EIN when you're incorporated. You can also do it when you're a sole proprietor. And I have gotten note that I need to kick it up a notch, so I am kicking it up a notch. American with Disabilities Act, if you get a commercial or a retail location, you want to make sure that you're familiar with those laws and regulations as you build out your space. That usually trips up a lot of people, and that's all on the federal side. On the state side, the fcc.virginia.gov is the agency for the state that regulates all of incorporations, LLCs, but also I've got the question, if you decide to start a financial institution or if you're in insurance, you also have to go through the FCC. DPOR, the Virginia Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation, these are folks that are regulated by the state. Think architects, think people that work on hair, beautician, cosmetology. You have to go through DPOR to make sure that you're certified. VEC, Virginia Employment Commission, they help you if you are hiring workers, unemployment insurance, Virginia Workers' Compensation works with the commission. So you want to make sure if you're touching employees in any way that you work with these agencies and you have all of the right information. That said, in regards to local, you've got through zoning, no matter if it's a hobby or what, if you're taking an income, and I'm going to let my friend Rodolfo speak on this, but you are required to have a home occupancy permit. It's free, and you could just go to our zoning office to get that. Also, the certificate of occupancy, CO, is if you're in a commercial space, or if you are leasing or doing a co-working space is when you would get your CO. Now, Rodolfo is going to talk about the business license, business tangible, trade name, and something new, which Arlington just really kicked up a notch considering Airbnbs, are the custodial taxes. And I'll jump into the mobile food license. So to get your home occupancy permit, that's free. You can go right here to this link on our building.arlingtonva.us website. Very simple. And for my business license, I'm going to turn over to my friend Rodolfo Luna.
Thank you, Tara. Yeah, this is Rodolfo Luna. I'm the business tax provider for the Subcommissioner of Revenue, Ingrid Monroy. And we administer the business license and custodial taxes here in Arlington County. One of the first things that I want to know is that if you have any questions, or if we send a form and you need help completing the form, you're always welcome to come to our office, 2100 Clarendon Boulevard, Suite 200, or you can call us at 703-228-3060, or write to us at business@arlingtonva.us. We are open to any suggestions, and we can help you in any way.
I like that.
Well, as I said, we administer business license. Business licenses, if you are planning to start a business or you're conducting a business, if you file Schedule C, you receive a 1099, you are considered a business in Arlington County. So it's good to give us a call to find out whether you are required to have a business license. Sometimes the requirement changes from industry to industry, and also depending on the amount of gross sales that you have during a year. Business license have to be filed before you start business, the initial business license, and then you have to renew it every year by March 1st. It is a file and pay tax. Now, the other tax is business tangible. You are required to file business tangible only if you are in business as of January 1st of the year that we are taxing. So let's say if you started business in January 15th, you're not required to file a business license for that year, but you'll be required to file for the next year. Now, in the same way, if you stop your business on January 15th, you'll be required to file business tax tangible for that year because you were in business in Arlington County January 1st of the year that we're taxing. For that, it's important if you cease business, let us know, send us an email so we can close your account to avoid any kind of problems when it comes to statutory assessments. It's good to keep us informed. Also, if you move, change address, if you have a mailing PO box instead of a location address for mailing, let us know so we can have your account up to date and you get all our mailings or all our correspondence. A lot of them are time sensitive. Now, business tangible is due, the filing should be done by May 1st. Just send the form with the supporting documentation, and tax is not due until September 5th. We'll process all the forms that we receive manually, and we assess the accounts around July 15th, July 30th, and then the payment should be by September 5th. So when you're filing, don't send a check, don't send payment because we have to send it back to you.
It'll come back.
Exactly.
It'll bounce back.
Then we also have trade names. Our office now is in charge of registering trade names. You can stop by our office. The law says, Virginia law says that if you are doing business in Arlington County with a fictitious name, you are required to file with our office. this doesn't protect your name in a way that you are the only person that can use it. That's done through, I guess, the
trademark.
Yeah. Thank you, Tara.
Slightly different.
Exactly. But yes, if you do have, if you're using a trade name here in Arlington County, you have to register with our office, and you can always call, and we can help you to do that. Custodial taxes. Custodial taxes. Yes, that is meals tax. If you have a restaurant, if you have a food truck, you'll be required to collect 4% meals tax from Arlington, Arlington residents if you're selling here in Arlington County, and you have to forward that to our office on a monthly basis. So let's say anything that you sell on January, you have to forward the tax that you collect by the following month, with February, the 20th of February, the latest. We also have transient occupancy tax. That is mainly for hotels, but now new changes came to the county code where we're going to be allowing Airbnb type of businesses.
Oh, cool.
And that will, and if you're applying to do that, you need to contact our office to make sure first whether you required to have a business license, and second, whether you'll be required to collect transient occupancy tax. That's why it's important to contact our office before you start business, so there's no late payment penalties or interest. And again, any questions, just give us a call, and we'll be glad to help you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Rodolfo. And for those folks that have questions at the end, Rodolfo will be here with us, as well as Alexandra. Health department, if you're doing anything food related, I would totally reach out to food establishments through the health department. This link that's up here at the top is awesome. It'll walk you through the process, but you can also have a health inspector come out, look at your truck, look at the space that you're going to do prior to signing a lease, to make sure, even look at the equipment to see if the equipment that's located in the space will convey. So they're one group. If you're doing anything with food, especially because that's a lot of cash up front that you'll be investing, you want to make sure that everything that you're doing connected with that makes sense and that is transferable, and definitely take advantage of that. We can connect you with our friends at the health department as well. Which leads us to the different types of business certifications. That was part of our checklist that we had. There are federal certifications that you could jump into if you're doing business with the federal government. There are also certifications that you can receive through the Commonwealth of Virginia if you're planning to do business with the state, as well as Arlington County. We're all part of the same system. So federal, there are different types. Usually if you're just starting out, we just had an 8A contracting workshop that we co-did with Congressman Beyer, and many times you may want to wait. We heard from somebody that was new, somebody that's been around, and these are types of certifications that you want to look into prior to jumping in, say, your first year of business. You really want to check it out. With the state of Virginia, we have a SWAM certification, which means you can certify your business as small, woman, or minority-owned. You can have dual certification, small woman-owned, small minority-owned. eva.virginia.gov is where all of our opportunities online. Usually with new businesses, we'll recommend that you go on there and register and see what type of opportunities are available. It's completely free. You could do your due diligence that way. We actually have a page on our website which talks about how Arlington does its purchasing, but in order to actually see what we have that's out there, it's all in the EVA system. So I would recommend, and you can follow the money through the budget. You also have contacts for different types of opportunities. Federal government, of course, it's SAM.gov, as well as FedBizOps, which has the listing. SAM is pretty cool because you can list your business online for free. There is a step-by-step tutorial process that you'll need to do. But I would look into this. If you're looking for procurement opportunities with local, state, or federal, I would definitely have this as part of your planning. Where I would spend money would be with an attorney, would be with mentorship, would be with my CPA or accountant. In the long run, they will save you money. They will totally save you money. Then it's time to execute, and you can execute like this. Very, you know, I don't know if there's a strong wind, I just don't know. However, you could execute like this, which is with a bang, which is what we hope that you will do. I have 2 slides of just my tips of things to keep in mind as you're executing, planning, and we've talked a lot about this. Have a team. One of the things I would say is keep really, really good records. I would recommend doing that. You never know when you'll be audited by our friends in tax, and it's always good to make sure that you keep your paperwork. Ask for help. Don't isolate yourself, especially if you're a consultant and you're getting out there on your own. Network as much as possible. Brag about what it is that you're doing. And repeat continually. You will be what you are the more times that you do it and the comfort that you have in doing so. That said, here are all of our contact numbers and emails. Feel free, think of us. We're your first 3 people that are on your team so that you can do what you love, and you have our contact information. So we're here for you, and I'm keeping my eyeball on the time. I got so excited about talking about doing what you love and starting your business in 2017 that I kind of ran out of time. But we did receive some questions. Feel free to we'll go as long as we need to, but if you have to go at 12, we understand. I did receive a question from an individual, and they're asking, if I am an independent consultant, why would I need financing? And there's another subset to that, subcontract other trainers and consultants to work with me occasionally, but otherwise I don't know I would need financing for. Financing is always good to have, and the reason being, especially for a consultant, is if anything happens to your equipment, if you have a global opportunity and you need to do a presentation somewhere else and your money is tied up in something else, you can have the comfort of being able to dip into something like, say, a line of credit that's tied to your business. If you get an amazing opportunity, a consultant or a contractor is working with you and they really want you to come on board and you have to hire people, you want to be able to dip into something so that you can start. If you are already doing what you're doing and you don't have the capital, many times people won't finance you. It's not quick. Getting money is not a quick process. It takes time, somewhere up to, at a minimum, sometimes, because you're selling yourself to somebody individually. So if you have that set up already, you're good to go. I'm always, for businesses, I'm always more proactive than reactive. So if you can have that in place, it gives you a sense of comfort when you need it. Never know when a major piece of equipment might go wooey on you. So there's that. So something to think about. I don't know if we have additional questions. I think that might be it. Alexandra, did you have any parting words that you would like to leave with our audience today?
Well, just consider the source of the information that you find, and if you want to double check it, feel free to contact me directly or schedule an appointment. There are many resources. Sarah mentioned private equity. We have a directory of private equity resources as well. You mentioned that earlier. So
thank you.
Happy to help.
Thank you so much. And Rodolfo, any parting words from the Commissioner of Revenue's office?
Well, in the same way, we are ready to help anyone. Have any questions? Give us a call. Stop by our office. We're unable to have everything in our website or print it because it changes from industry to industry and it might confuse the customers. Yes, give us a call.
I like that. This is transparency in government. When you feel you have a contact that you can reach out to and you're not an island on your own. So with that, I wish everyone a happy holiday, a wonderful season. Stay tuned. We have a packed 2017 for you with opportunities and with networking as well as education as well as mentorship. So we're really looking forward to having you with us in the new year, and have a wonderful season. Take care and happy entrepreneurship journey.